Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, bloody hell, it's an actual League of Legends novel. Well, whenever anyone does anything, Riot is almost guaranteed to give it a shot as well, and after sucking up every ex-Black Library writer faster than an abee's vacuum cleaner, it was of course inevitable that they would give tie-in novels a shot as well. The first of which is Ruination by Anthony Reynolds, which is what we'll be discussing today. So the premise is as follows. We follow the events leading up to the ruination of the Blessed Isles. For League players, that is basically the backstory of Callista, Thresh, Viego, Gwen, Hecarim, Yorick, Maokai and a couple more. For the Warhammer fans, it's like the Necroquake but without the evil skeleton overlord. The book is for the most part split into two perspectives. During the main perspective we follow Callista, the niece of Viego and leader of the kingdom's infantry. She goes on a quest to find a cure for Isolde. Isolde is the wife of King Viego and she is slowly dying after being poisoned by an assassin. The poison is very special however, and thus the mythical Blessed Isles might be the only place that could save her. Meanwhile, in the side story we follow Erla Greil, a sadistic school shooter type whose job is to walk in the dark depths of the Blessed Isles and to guard its secrets. These treasures, as they are called, have by far the shittiest job on the island, and after being assigned to this position, Erla goes on a quest for power and revenge. So, is it any good? Well, if you were expecting the next Arcane, then I'm going to have to disappoint you. Ruination is an okay-ish tie-in novel, but nothing special when compared to, for example, Black Library books. The main issue I have with the book is the characterization. Callista is your basic children's novel protagonist, who is more perfect in every way than any other character. Normally, I'd say that the D&D alignment chart is far too shallow to define a character, but for Callista, lawful good is actually a perfect description. She's the main character, but also by far the most boring character in the book. Viego meanwhile is a child, and that's basically it. He lost his parents as a child and was left to the care of Callista, who never really bothered to teach him anything. He then gets married to Isolde, who is basically a carbon copy of Callista in terms of decision making, and she is used in order to manipulate his decision making so they can achieve their dream of making the kingdom more peaceful. Basically, they pull on Marjorie Tyrell and Viego is Tommen in this scenario. Sure, it works as a plot device to create an angry man-child with too much power for his own good, but there's no character depth here at all. Erla, however, was a lot more fun to read about. Sure, he too is a bit basic and basically a school shooter stereotype, but that being said, Reynolds did a great job at showing you what goes on in his mind, and we get to see firsthand how he becomes crazier and crazier by the day. The only characters that really get any depth are the side characters Ryze and Phoenix. Ryze starts off as a bit of an overconfident arsehole who has yet to learn his limits, but then goes through an amazing character arc throughout the book. While Phoenix is a badass pirate queen with more heart than you might initially suspect. Also, I should mention she's a cat girl, so some audience members might have bonus points for that, I guess. Anyway, the plot itself is okay. Sure, it meanders a bit, but it was overall enjoyable as a fantasy adventure tale. The pacing was okay as well, although it takes a while for things to really get going, and once the big event happens, the book quite rapidly ends. Then another thing we should talk about is the references and cameos, because well, there are quite a couple. Now first of all, I should say that if you don't know anything about League lore, then this book is still perfectly readable. In fact, since you don't know the ending, it might actually be a lot more exciting. You will however spend a lot of time thinking, where in the name of God is the book going with these scenes? Some references were quite clever or subtle. For an example, the appearance of Kindred was great in my opinion, as it was used to handle a crucial part of the plot that would happen anyways. A lot of other League characters however feel very much forced in. Like you could have cut any of the parts with characters like Soraka or Maokai and it really wouldn't have made a difference. The book just goes out of its way to randomly meander into a cameo and then picks up right where it left off. So might be fun for the diehard lore fans, but it is quite a detriment to the story otherwise. Then finally, there is just one pet peeve that I want to get out of the way. This is a horse, okay? This is a 2 meter tall, 400 kilogram weighing piece of muscle that fortunately has a habit of listening to people because otherwise you're never getting this thing out of the way. The author, however, clearly has never ever been in a room with one because he treats these absolute units as if they're goats. Humans in this book just smack them aside and easily stand against a cavalry charge like it's nothing. That just doesn't work. I don't care how tall you are, you don't just smack a 400 kilo horse aside like it's nothing, okay? Yeah, I know it's a little thing, but it bothers me. Horses are cool and this book does them a very big disservice. But all in all, I'm giving Ruination 3 to 5 Gold I Shens. It's an okay tie-in novel that has some nice lore, cameos and insights for League of Legends fans, but suffers from very flat characters, plot meandering and an abrupt ending. So if you like reading and you like the Shadow Isles gems, then this might be worth a read. However, if you just want a fun fantasy novel, I can recommend at least 100 Warhammer and also non-Warhammer books that easily outshine this one. After the absolute masterpiece that was Arcane, this was a bit of a disappointment, but still, it's at least not Magic the Gathering levels of shit, and I'm still looking forward to see what they come up with next. Anyways, that's all I got for you today.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing and click ringing the bell to appease the Great Horned Rat. For more lore content, please check my main channel and leave any book recommendations in the comments down below. I gotta get back to reading the next book.